Classes in session.
Hey, welcome to Unlearn 16 Classes in Session. Now, it's just me today. So you just got me today, guys. That's it. You're gonna have to make do. And to be honest, I had no idea. Next week I'm gonna talk about Jordan Peterson, and all I can have in my head is Jordan Peterson, but my blood pressure incrementally ratchets up when I talk about it. I'm gonna have Stu come on, so maybe he'll bring me down, I don't know, or he'll just drive me up and it'll be a nightmare. But I'm gonna talk about that next week. But as a precursor to that, as a stepping stone towards the insanity that is Jordan Peterson and his ideologies and his little fan base and, well, cult, as I like to call it, I want to talk about shopping. Now, a lot of people are like, what the hell does that have to do? Well, I'll tell you what it has to do. For those of you who don't know me, or maybe you're just listening to me and never actually seen me in person or never seen my TikToks or my Instagram or whatever, you might not know aesthetically what I look like. So let me give you a picture, okay? Picture, the perfect fade, spiky Bart Simpson-esque kind of haircut. I could admit that. But better texture. And not blonde. It's dark with some highlights naturally occurring. I do not dye. The side of my head is full of gray hair, which is why I keep the fade so tight. I am prone to be wearing baggy jeans, a loose-fitting shirt, a backwards to the side cap with really overpriced running shoes. I think that pretty much gives me a picture. Now, do I change my outfits accordingly depending on where I'm going? Sure. Do I want to? No, I don't. That's my wheelhouse. I like a solid hoodie. I like a one sort of hoodie track pant suit with the right shoes. I like that vibe, maybe some slides every now and then. So every year, given that, so you have that picture of me in your head? Okay, so every year, I'm a teacher. And for 20 years, guys, 20 years, I have to go to prom. Now, back in the day when I would go to prom, I'd wear a dress. I know, there's pictures out there somewhere, I'm sure. I'd wear a dress. I'd do my hair a little bit more effeminately, maybe put on a different necklace, heaven forbid a pair of high heels, because I do think they look good with a dress. And I'd go out to prom and I'd shock the hell out of everybody and everybody would love it and they'd comment on me and whatever. And I didn't feel bad in the dress, guys, but I didn't feel me. And I think this is what people don't understand when it comes to expressions of gender. I'm not going to get into gender identity. I'm not going to get into pronouns. I'm going to put that way over there for next week when my blood pressure can handle it. I'm going to put it just in the context of me. And in the context of me, I never felt like that was me. But I grew up in the 90s. And in the early 2000s, and there wasn't a lot of choice. Could I have worn a suit? Absolutely, sure. Would I have been breaking all sorts of very thick gender norm? Yeah, absolutely, I would have. I don't know if I didn't have the confidence then, or if I didn't have a clear picture of who I was. So I didn't. And when I didn't, every time I'd go, I'd feel like I was putting it on and pretending just a little bit. Now, the interesting part was I was met with all of these accolades, right? I mean, when I was in high school, I'd go to high school, I'd wear track pants and my volleyball uniform and all of those things. And then I'd get dressed up one day out of the year and people would be like, oh my God, it's amazing. And I think the accolades made me feel good about what I wore, good enough that it drew me back to doing it again the next year. And then when I started teaching, I did it again. And then to grad, and then the next year, and then the next year. And for the love of God, 20 years later. Now, it was somewhere in the last 5 or 6 years, I think, that I really said, stop. And I'm trying to decide on the point at which I got a healthy enough identity, or, and this is quite possible, society caught up enough to give me space to develop that healthy identity. I'll give you an example. Painting my nails. Guys, I can throw on a dress easier. I can throw on high heels. But if you paint my nails, I am filled with discomfort, uneasiness, almost panic. I have no idea why. That I need it off. I even thought, like, for those Buffy fans out there, you know how Spike used to wear the black nail polish that was kind of rubbed off? I thought that would be cool. But even that just didn't sit okay with me, and it made me feel uncomfortable. Maybe it's because I didn't get the accolades with the nail polish, that came with the dress and the heels and the different style hair. So I've been sitting here, and after the last little while, I've started saying screw it, right? So what have I done? Well, I've gone out and got clothes for prom that suit me closer. There is no perfect yet. Because as somebody who is a woman, very happily a woman, so ideally, for people to understand it, I have no desire to transition. I don't feel as though I'm in the wrong body, but I have a very certain aesthetic about what clothes I like to wear. And the funny part is, I don't find it in the girl side, and I don't find it in the guy side. Is it more guy side? Absolutely. Absolutely. If I was going to pick a specific kind of percentages, where it'll probably be like 65, 70%. But stylistically, I like it. But the way it fits like garbage, right? Because my shoulders aren't very big, heaven help me. My hips are too big, heaven help me twice. And it doesn't fit the way that I want it to fit. Now, could I go get a suit made? Of course I could, but who has the time and the exceptional amounts of money? And so in my head, though, guys, I still only have what I've seen. So you have women like Julia Roberts doing that kick-ass suit with the tie, but she had the long hair, she looked gorgeous, right? All fitted. And now you've had women like Zendaya and different people wearing suits, but sort of feminine suits in the sense of the way that they're cut and the way they're styled. Then you have guys like Harry Styles chucking it all in the wind, right? And I look at a guy like Harry Styles and I think, damn, he's got something. He's got something there, right? But those people have something because they have people around them that sort of can curate a wardrobe that suits them and their persona and their identity, whereas most of us have to shop at H&M. Okay, fine. So I had to go shopping. And just recently I walk in, and you gotta know, when I go shopping for prom outfits, I know I'm not gonna find what I'm looking for. It's fine. But I'm hoping I can find pieces of it. I'm hoping I can pull pieces and sort of imagine it. But we are all very much limited by what we've seen. And so earlier when I said, I don't know if I got the self-confidence or if the culture caught up and gave me an identity to find and to succumb to. I don't know. I don't know which one it is. I do know that living in binaries, men's side, women's side, doesn't work for me. And I don't think it works for everybody else as we think it does. I think we just end up making it work for us because we don't have any other options. So I'm going to go shopping. Yes, if you saw my last TikTok, you saw what an interesting scenario it was. And I know I want a suit, so I'm past the dress stage of my, succumbing to expectation in society. And I'm all into okay, I'm going to get a suit, but a guy suit, not necessarily. Too boxy, too whatever. Girl suit, not necessarily because it's too thin. And I don't know what women's jackets do and why they cut you right at the ass. Makes no sense to me because that doesn't no good to my aesthetic. I like a longer jacket. So I walk into Yorkdale Mall. Now here's the funny part. Now, because I'm 46, because I've gotten to this place in my life where pieces of me have gotten built up, where my identity has gotten stronger, where society has caught up, where all of these sort of pieces of the world have come together in a collectivization methodology that allows me to be closer to who I want to be. So I walk in to Yorkdale Mall. For those who don't know, you're from the States. Okay, Yorkdale Mall is like a very fancy mall. They have a lot of very nice stores. So purposefully, I go to Yorkdale Mall looking like a bum. My grandma always said, this is a great, my grandma had a very, very expensive ring. She's talk about it all the time. My grandfather got it for their like 10th anniversary. She didn't wear it all the time. It was ginormous. And she would wear it, but she wouldn't wear it when she was going to make an expensive purchase, cars or shopping for a home, or even, shopping for more jewelry or more expensive, whatever. Because she said, and I love my grandma for this, she said, I want to make sure they're going to treat me well, regardless of the expensive jewelry on my hand. I will not give them an insight into my bank account because I want to make sure they're going to treat me well regardless. I almost said irregardless, heaven help me. So she'd take it off. So my grandmother wouldn't wear that ring when she went furniture shopping or car shopping, or even, when they were buying homes. And she'd want to see what she was treated like when she didn't sort of rock that jewelry. So I have that in the back of my mind. I have no expensive rings, to be honest with you. But what I do is I really try it out when it comes to aesthetically how I look. So picture it. So I'm going to go to Yorkdale Mall the other day. That was hot. So I was wearing a white tank top. I don't often do that. Just so you also know, I have full tattoo sleeves on both my left and right arm. I wore track pants, and the track pants have Basquiat sort of emblems all the way down them. So it kind of looks like I have tattoos on my pants as well. And I wore Champion rainbow slides. So first of all, and I also wore a hat on sideways. I just got a fresh fade, but I had a hat on sideways backwards. It was a Blue Jays special edition. Now, some people be like, yeah, but that's all expensive stuff. But that's not the point. Here's the point. I'm going to walk into these places, and I'm going to walk into both women's and men's side of clothing, and I'm going to see how I get treated. And so I'm going to tell you guys how I got treated, because I think it's really, really important. Number one, my overall experience was lovely. Let me say that. Let me also say this. One of the first stores I walked into was Hugo Boss. I like to go into these stores because they are expensive, because not only was I pushing all sorts of gender lines, I looked, I don't want to say like, I definitely didn't look like I had boatloads of money. And going into a store like Hugo Boss, sometimes you get ignored, passed by. And immediately, a woman came up to me and was lovely. She said, can I help you with anything? And I explained myself in about, 3 sentences. She goes, let's give it a go. I like this. This is a great challenge. We should have more things that are like you, So she got me a suit and we tried it on in the girls' side. She goes, the guy's side has nothing fun right now. It really is quite boring. I don't think you're going to like it. We can try some on, but I think you're going to be more happy with maybe this cut because we have some longer jackets. But they only had one style. It was orange. I still don't know if I can rock orange, guys. Go check out that TikTok if you want, though. Tell me what you think. But she was absolutely lovely. I didn't feel for a minute that the way that I looked or the way I presented or what I wanted or even my lack of money, sitting in a place where I was looking at a fairly expensive suit, she didn't judge that for an instant. And you can feel that, right? There's lots of people say, can I help you? And you're like, yeah, they really want to help me. No, this was not Hugo Boss in Yorkdale Mall. Shout out. And I didn't buy the suit. So this isn't, propaganda for them. So I left. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go check out some other stores. And I went into a few different places. A guy's store, I'm trying to remember the name of it right now. For some reason, I can't fashion the name. It's a relatively expensive store again, but most of their sizes are too big. He was okay. He was pretty okay with me. Wasn't too excited about trying to find different things. But again, I don't know if it was a gender thing or if it was a money thing, because again, I look like a bum. I went into Banana Republic and I got a very lovely young lady who helped me find a kind of a Harry Potter-esque kind of vibe. And all the while trying to find more funky things. She did a really good job of, they were still women's clothes, but she did a really good job of trying to find pieces she thought might be more stylistically at least cooler, maybe a little bit more masculine. And again, lovely. What I find interesting about my shopping experience is how many people, even though I present the way I do, never walked me over to the guy's side. Really, never did. Just decided that that wasn't, an option. I eventually went into Zara. Zara, by the way, I love stuff from Zara. I love the guy side from Zara, but it's a level of chaos in Zara that I just can't. It's hard for me to placate the chaos where the people and whatever. And that particular Zara, I've had issues with where I've wanted to get changed before. Like when I got grab guys' clothes, for example, I walk into the guy's change room. Not for no reason, then I'm on the guy's side. And a couple of times I've gotten oh, the girls' change room's over there. I'm like, yeah, A, there's a lineup, or B, but I have guys' clothes. So what do you want me to do here? That didn't happen this time. And they were okay, but more dismissive, I think. More like you could feel a bit of a vibe, which is weird. And now I'm starting to feel like it's weird when I get a vibe, when I'm met with an energy that doesn't sort of support that kind of diversity or gender bending kind of stuff. I guess when I look around too, I find that we're expected to constantly fit in a trope, right? We're constantly expected. We're more so okay with you shopping, girls shopping in the guy's side, and guys shopping in the girl's side. But that's it. Those are your options. So I pulled a guy aside. I said, listen, this is the vibe I'm looking for. Like some of the guy stuff is cool, but here I want this kind of pop of color, or I want this vibe, or I want something more unique. And guys tend to be boring as heck. And he's kind of like, yeah, we don't have anything. But and then that's it. Now, granted, they're getting paid next to nothing and it sucks working in retail. But part of that, I'm wondering if it comes from what I should be wearing and shouldn't be wearing, or and this is interesting, we're still stuck in the binaries. It's not so much that anybody has a problem with me dressing like a guy. It's just that they can't conceive of something greater than those two categories. And this is where I want to live. This is what I want to talk about. How do we pull away from that kind of binary? Because especially in clothing, it is so confining and limiting in a space where clothes are supposed to be, everybody talks about how clothes are supposed to be a reflection of your identity, but you're only supposed to have narrowly defined identities. And you can either fit over here or over there. And everybody's all upset that people are pushing gendered pronouns and wanting to sort of pick up the other, whatever the other is, or even gender neutral pronouns. And why? Well, because we've only given people two options. Now you hear younger kids using they, them pronouns, using non-binaries, which is amazing, but that's new. Because still, we're saying it's an either or. It's a he or a she. It's the guy side or the girl side. And then there's all of this limitation found within that dynamic. And I'm starting to feel very constrained by it. Now, again, I dress however I want to dress, guys, but that's taken me 46 freaking years. 46 years. And I don't know if I'm perfectly comfortable with it all the time. I do know that I still feel constrained by side A or B. So I start imagining or envisioning what I would create if I could create clothes. How I would diversify them, how I would get rid of, guys, girls altogether. In my head, I'm like, why not have a gender neutral store? Why does it have to be a guys and girls side? Now, there are realities of bodies, right? My hips, for the love of God. I got big hips. I wish they were a little more narrow, but I got big hips. It's what I came with, right? So I got big hips. The kind of pants that I need, as opposed to the kind of pants guys need, those change. But can't we just have a different kind of pant? I'm just wondering, there's lots of women I know that don't have big butts and don't have big hips, right? So stylistically and aesthetically, they suit a kind of pant that isn't necessarily male. And the same goes for men who could have more of a hip or a bum, you know? I'm going to guess a hockey player, they always have kind of big butts. Hockey players got to shop for jeans totally separate places. So I started thinking about all of these things and all of these constraints. I'm not going to tell you what I ended up with in my outfit because I haven't quite come to terms with it yet, but I'm going to. And then I started reflecting on how long is it going to take before we give that space to kids? We're fighting so hard about what they wear and where they go and how they talk and what they do. And we're all angry about all of the pronoun stuff that we're going to talk about next week. And all we're like, where are the categories anymore? And everything's so blurred. But why do we care? If we really want our kids to have true, authentic identities, don't we want to get out of their way? Don't we want to? And I mean, maybe we don't. And maybe it's time a lot of people admitted that. They don't want their kids to have a true, authentic identity. They want an authentic identity as long as it conforms to the majority of social norms and gets them a good paying job and the family and the kids and the fence and the right Audi in the driveway. I don't know. Maybe that's what they're looking for. I'm wondering if we get out of their way more. Me too, everybody. If we get out of their way more on something as basic as the way you get to express your gender, maybe we will have more healthy, more amazing, more well-rounded young people who can then focus their energies on doing amazing things in this world rather than constantly trying to figure out how to navigate, how to fit in, how to break those, how to fight those. You know, when I was a younger teacher, I would fight for stupid things because I was young and dopey. Let me give you an example. We used to have this hat rule at school. No hats in school, right? And I would collect their hats and I would string them up on my rafters. I had a really high ceiling. And it was a bit of a game and it was a bit fun. But when when we make these rules, I am now thinking, let's not just think of rules we make for making rules' sake. Wearing a hat inside is very 1945. What do I care? If people are worried about them cheating, guys, trust me, for the love of God, there's so many more ways to cheat. They don't cheat with hats. But that hat thing, right? For years I battled it. And I think about that hat because I think about it metaphorically. Do we have rules like no hats inside just to have rules? Just to say that is a rule, follow that rule? That is a sign of respect. If I heard that one more time, I was going to lose my mind. I have since, I mean, it's been 10 years since I've given a crap about a hat. But I'm wondering how much time we waste, how much time and battles we throw down with. Because everybody who's a parent on here or a teacher on here knows that it's a series of battles with kids. And not in a bad way, just like there's a constant power struggle going back and forth. You've heard the term, you got to pick your battles. Well, so do teachers. And what the hell am I having a hat battle for? Or telling a young woman not to wear a tank top? Or the crap that's going on in Ottawa, Ontario right now, and telling them to bend over so I can see how short their shorts are? What is wrong with us? What are the battles? What battles are we having? Why are we having them? And more importantly, what is the victory getting us? Because I have a lot of people on the right, you know, saying like freedom, freedom, freedom. If they say the word freedom anymore, it just stops having meaning. Like if you just keep saying the word again and again and again and again. What do they want freedom for? Because I don't think they want freedom. I think what they want is they want to block a diversification of that freedom, right? Don't talk about gender. Let the kids be free. But we've been talking about gender forever, guys. We've been telling young boys and young girls what to wear. We've been questioning young girls' aesthetic and their tank tops forever. We've been ripping off hats. We've been constantly reinforcing these ideas. We have been teaching them time after time after time a very particular way of existing, and I use the term conservative not in a party sense, but in a basic kind of principled way, a conservative mentality when it comes to education, when it comes to the lessons they need to be learning. You know what's hysterical? We spend all this time fighting about hats, but we don't fight about turning in late assignments. Or we spend all this time talking to parents about what I can and can't say, but yet the parent consistently will maybe throw some lies down to protect their kid when they're late so they don't actually have to face consequence. All of this is to protect a very particular way of living, a very particular way of educating our youth. And now it's coming up against this flood of diversity. And that's what they don't, all of a sudden, it's a freedom issue. No, it's always been a freedom issue. It's always been, teachers have always had significant control of what goes on in the classroom. And if you want to know what's going on in the classroom, for the love of God, talk to your child. But now, when they start challenging traditional ideals and values, and I hate the word tradition because, again, it's like the hat thing, guys. I don't stand by tradition because it's tradition. I stand by tradition because today you can prove to me it has value. And it has value. If it has value, I'll keep it. If it doesn't, I won't. The same with the hat. Does it have value? Is it a fight worth having? And what is the end goal of the fight? Because if end goal of the fight is just control, then what the hell are we doing? Right? People say, I just want to, and I'll get these comments all the time as on a teacher on social media, never in a teacher in real life, but, oh, you're just trying to control kids. No, you're missing the point. I'm trying to give them options. I don't need to teach them Christianity. I teach them 12 world religions. They can choose. And I teach the 12 with the same veracity and passion and interest across the board. Let them choose. You individually as parents might be the kind of parent who say, no, we are this, so they will learn this. And everything else is attempting to infiltrate that freedom. No, you've missed it. You never gave your kid freedom. You gave your kid limits. You gave your kid the end result rather than letting them choose. Same with gender identity. Same with the clothes they wear, right? Same with the makeup they choose to put on or not put on. I want to give them space for that. Isn't that more freedom? Because I'm confused at what freedom means anymore. I mean, the F Trudeau signs don't seem like, yay, freedom to me. I know y'all didn't like a mask mandate, but besides that. And so I start to look at education from a very different perspective. And that perspective has me questioning, what fight should we have? How should we have the fights? And more importantly, what kind of environment do we want to create whereby our kids, our youth, get to look around a room and decide from the variances of culture and religion and gender identities and perspectives and ideologies. They have all of this diversity all the way around them. And then they get to decide which things speak to them. I think, look, you can't make an argument against that. The only argument against that is fear. That's simple. And that's what a lot of people are running on nowadays, fear. Right? What you're afraid of, what you don't want, what you're trying to control, what you're trying to limit. Fear. I had a little girl the other day when I was out in I was in Metro. It's like a grocery store in Toronto. I was at Metro and a lot of little girls will look at me and around 6 or 7, they're fascinated. And this little girl's with her mom, and we're shopping in the same aisle, and I'm focused on, I don't know, Captain Crunch or whatever I was focused on. And this little girl, I can hear her whisper to mom. She goes, "Hey, mom, is that a girl?" And the mom goes, "Yes, honey, that's a girl." And you could tell she's like, "Shh, stop, stop." I don't want. I think it's adorable. "Yes, that's a girl, honey." And then the kids paused, and I could feel her looking at me, and I could kind of catch her eye. And she's staring and staring and staring. It's like into my soul, guys. And as she's staring, a few seconds later, she then looks at her mom, pulls her down, and says, "Then why can't I get my hair cut like that?" Kids want options. Kids want diversity. Kids want to express themselves in different ways. Now, that mom's quick response was, "Honey, but we love your long hair. I can't put it in a ponytail or pigtails. Come on now. We just," and then she shuffled her off. The mom wasn't being mean. The mom wasn't being anything horrible. It's just, that's it. It's so incredibly simple. That kid figured out, well, if she's a girl, but her hair looks like that, then my hair can look like that. And you start to realize the importance of people being visible to young people, diversity being an option to young people. The idea that their identity, that little girl's identity now, is always going to be in the back of their head, knowing full well girls can cut their hair short and it is fine. When she gets old enough, maybe she will. Or maybe, society will done a significant enough of a job in order to control that, make sure she keeps long hair for whatever reason society has for that. But all of this is to talk about something very simple and very hard at the same time. If we want our kids to be able to find their true identity, we have to give them options on the table. I don't ever want kids to be in harm's way in any way, shape, or form. And cutting your hair, guys, well, that's just not harm's way, is it? Wearing baggy pants is just not harm's way. And I think by giving that kind of freedom, what we allow for is kids not to be battling. You want to change some issues surrounding mental health? Get out of their way. Stop telling them who they are. Stop limiting how they get to express themselves, who they get to become. Because every time we do that, we constrict their growth. And as we constrict their growth and they know there's something that they're missing, they either have to pack it away or they have to fight. Why do we want them to do either? Because we want our kids to grow up healthy and brave and strong and independent. And if that is true, then you got to get out of their way and let them do it. That's it for today, guys. Throw any questions you have in the comments section below. I would love to hear your comments. I would love to hear your stories. I would love for this to be a continuation of a discussion based around how do we build healthier, amazing, fuller potential in a person? How do we get out of kids' way? Because I really do think that's the prime directive. And yes, that was a Star Trek quote. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I will see you next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat station. Have a great week, guys. Dismissed.